And it's not all animated shows. I'm just saying like in general though. This is from a general standpoint. So in Japanese culture, spirituality and witchcraft can be traced back to ancient Japanese folklore that depicts things like human possession, familiar spirits, shape-shifting witches, false gods, demons slash ani, etc. Like as early, really earlier than like 6th century Japan, like 552 CE. So all of this was really big, really, really big. And at the time, Shinto pretty much was the more popular, was really popular at the time. So all of this changed when you had Korean Buddhist monks that were traveling to Japan and pretty much brought Buddhism over into Japan to where Shinto Buddhism was birthed. So, so the concept of Buddhism pretty much was just like a non-theistic religion. The whole concept and idea of it, well, one of the concepts, like in general, I try to research it to the best of my ability. Is misfortune, suffering, etc. are general parts of life, but the suffering we deal with is of our own doing, and every action or thought, is has a consequence or karma, and that you have the power to get yourself out of this cycle. And it's kind of crazy because that's also something that demons have like told human beings, you know, throughout thousands of years in recorded and shared incidences, in scrolls and so on, such as, the devil tempting Eve in the garden, tempting Eve in the Garden of Eden, which is in Genesis. The whole thing is in Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 through 7. So, I don't know, it's just like that whole thing kind of causes you to feel like you are your own God. When in reality, we don't got the ability to do everything by ourselves. We don't. I promise you, we don't. It may seem like we do, but you're gonna wear yourself thin trying to do everything by yourself. You're gonna wear yourself thin. It's been plenty of times where I feel like, yeah, I can do it by myself. Do. And every single time I attempted to, and I was really stubborn and I was stuck in my own ways, um, I couldn't do it myself. I really I could not do it myself. Like I had to call on God every single time. Like it's not meant for us to go through life alone to the point of where we huffing and puffing and just doing stuff ourselves. Like that's what God is for. You know, he's ooh, it's just like I don't know. That's just something I pretty much had to like end up realizing. Cause for me, I feel like I could do a lot by myself, and because of the stuff that I dealt with, it caused me to be very hyper vigilant in specific departments until I really started to repent for a lot of stuff that I did. And God caused me to realize, like, who you're not supposed to, if you need help, you can ask people, right? You can ask me, right? It's not meant for you to do that by yourself. You can't handle everything by yourself. Like, if you were put everything on a plate, you would not be able to stomach that. So, so the next thing, so the concept, I'm pretty much just breaking down both things. So the concept of Shinto, which is a polytheistic religion, is worshiping and honoring ancestors called the kami, who are believed to inhabit almost everything, and they're worshipped, at temples and shrines, and they're separated from the human world by torii gates. And torii gates are considered portals that marks the transition from the human world to the realm of the quote unquote gods. And and it's also crazy because the Japanese emperors and rulers were typically rumored to be descendants of the descendants of or messengers of Kami. And it's crazy. It's crazy because it's very similar to how the whole system of how Ifa believers believe. I don't know how to say it, but the name is here. They pretty much believe that that individual receives knowledge from the quote unquote supreme deity of their practice. So the concept of the Shinto religion is very similar to the order and styles of other countries' practices of spirituality, where ancestors and nature are worshipped and put at an extremely high regard. So, so once Shinto Buddhism, was birthed, it just started spreading like all across Japan just in general. So afterwards, so now you got in modern times where Western witchcraft practices began to influence other countries and was spread worldwide, eventually reaching Japan to where instances of it, such as magic circles, incantations, seals, spells, etc., were showcased in a lot of shoujo or magical girl anime, or even in some action shows, as well as the influence of Shinto Buddhism as well in these shows. So, we're going to talk about the examples. Who talking? If y'all don't hate me after this, cool. Ooh, okay. So, I'm going to give y'all some examples. So, we gonna label these examples. So, I'm going to put zodiac / natal astrology, and then I'm going to put Shinto Buddhism / Buddhism. And a good chunk of these are going to like repeat themselves because there's a blend of a lot of stuff in these shows. And then you have, shows that like dibble and dabble or just straight up deep dive into the occult. And then I'm going to have like a category where it's like biblical references or mocking Christianity essentially. So, and also I'm gonna talk more about the specific examples as well. So, the first one, zodiac / natal astrology. I'm gonna go from popular animated shows to like shows that are like not as popular. So, examples of this really, yeah, a good chunk of some of the examples of this is Cardcaptor Sakura, Saint Seiya, Sailor Moon, Fruits Basket, Fairy Tail. In some instances, Naruto, Pokemon at one point, like references. It was at one point they had like 12 Pokemon that represented like the Western zodiac. The Ito Ranger series also references zodiac, the Chinese zodiac. And then there's this really cute anime, bro. That broke my heart, dog. It was so cute until I thought about it. I'm like, no, bruh. So it's this show called Star Twinkle Pretty Cure. All the star princes are pretty much based on the Western zodiac and so on. And then so now we gonna move on to the Shinto Buddhism / Buddhism aspect. So so some examples are Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha, Demon Slayer, One Piece, Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho. This one broke my heart the most. This one broke my heart so bad, bro. I used to love Spirited Away bad. Like Studio Ghibli 8 when they made that movie, but bro, influenced by a good chunk of like Shinto Buddhism. Bro, I was shaking my fist. I'm like, how could you, dog? Come on now. Come on. Then we gonna get into shows that straight up dive into the occult. I ain't even finna hold you. We got Yu Yu Hakusho, Go Acme, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, Death Note at one point, Full Metal Alchemist, Card Captor Sakura, Black Butler, and Yuyasha. Um, Jesus, take the wheel. Black Clover. Who else? Oh my goodness. Hellsing at one point. Um, ooh. Berserk. I'm not even look. I didn't even want to say that one because I used to love Berserk down. But bro, let's not lie about it. Let's not, please, no. Jujutsu Kaisen, that's obvious. Oh my goodness, this is one show that I used to watch. It technically counts under the Shinto part, but at the same time, it is witchcraft. I used to watch this show called Hell Girl. That's one. Any show that got any form of witch or whatever, that's it too. Like it's a lot of them. I don't want to sit here and be here all day, but just know there's a lot. There is a whole lot. Like Devilman Crybaby, Seven Deadly Sins at one point. The Devil is a part-timer at one point. Like, I'm telling you, if I continue to name them, we'd be here all day. All day. And it's been 57 minutes so far. No, but like, I'm not going to talk about every single one of them. I'm just going to I'm pretty much going to break down like 4, 5 of them and pretty much just like talk about the biblical references and so forth as well. So the first one I had heard to talk about was Naruto. And when I heard that, I was like, Naruto? For real? And then it just got quiet. So I said Kurama, the fox spirit within Naruto, is known as a kitsune. So it's known as a kitsune in Japan, but it's known as a gumiho or a kumiho in Korean, a holijin. And I feel like I said that so wrong, but here is the spelling in Chinese. And it can be linked to another deity in a completely different continent, country, etc. So it can be linked to or associated with the hold on. Pretty much, I hope I'm saying this right. I'm gonna beat myself up if I say it wrong. But it's the Yurugu. So pretty much that is the Dogon trickster spirit in Mali, West Africa, or it's also known as the Pale Fox. The Kumilisa in Bulgaria, and other trickster spirits worldwide due to the same characteristics and so on. And it's crazy because in a lot of different cultures worldwide, like in spirituality, the fox is known as like the trickster or whatever the case may be. However, that spirit is still a demon. So this entity cannot be found in just Naruto, but Yu Yu Hakusho, Genshin Impact. I think it's Yamako, I believe, Okami, Inuyasha, etc. So Naruto contains pretty much, it is Junjitsus, Fuinjitsus, and so on. So there is like a few things that stuck out to me like a sore thumb, a few jutsus and things that stuck out to me like a sore thumb. So the sealing jutsu, there's a seal called Sealing Jutsu Reaper Death Seal. But in America, in good old America, they call it the dead demon seal. So pretty much the whole description of it is this technique allows the user to summon the Shingami, and the Shingami is pretty much a death god. It's still a demon, but still. So it allows the user to summon the Shingami and then offer their own soul to it. After the price is paid, the user can then use the Shingami to rip out the soul of any other target as well. So pretty much, by technicality, it's divination. So they're still calling on the power of a Shingami or a death god. So, and then another thing that was interesting to me is so pretty much there is this whole thing a jutsu called summoning impure world reincarnation. So pretty much it's a jutsu that binds the soul of a deceased person to a living vessel, restoring them as they were in the last moments of their life in order to do their summoner's bidding. And once again, hey y'all, editing Kim. So I was babbling on this part, but this is divination too, because by technicality, you are summoning your ancestors to either try to fight with you or do something. When in reality, once we gone, we gone. That's it. Not even gonna sugarcoat it. It's divination. So pretty much you have like the Torii seal, pretty much where they use Torii gates. So it's pretty much like a sealing technique that uses Torii gates. So then there's a specific path, a specific statue that was very interesting to my little human eyes. And that is the demonic statue of the outer path. So pretty much what this is this basically the husk of the 10 tails that remains after its chakra or energy was separated, or spirit was separated from its body. So according to the description, it was sealed in the moon. It was sealed in the moon by 2 deities, where it stayed until Madara Uchiha awakened the Rinnegan. So that allowed him to break the seal and summon that statue down to earth, where it was used as a container for the tail beast. And it was captured by the Akatsuki. Like we just out here summoning deities. Just summon it away, boy. So you have a seal. Of course you have your seals, pretty much your contract seal. So pretty much what this is when the user implements this funjutsu on a summoner, it removes any direct control the summoner has over a summoned creature. And then you have the Mangekyo Sharingan. So this pretty much is like, this eye significantly boosts the fighting prowess of those who wield it and allows them to fight on a much higher level. As it feeds on the hatred, this eye makes the user stronger. So this eye significantly boosts the fighting prowess of, those who wield it. And it also allows them to fight like 15 cajillion times better. It reminds me of how very so often, whenever we're in specific situations, the thing that feeds on our negativity or hatred are demons. Because they be wanting people to pop off. They want people to have hatred in their heart and unforgiveness and whatever the case may be in specific situations. Because it opens a portal to come into your life and ruin your life in some shape, form, or fashion, or make it worse. So that's already a little crazy. So then you got, it's to a point of where in the series, there's this whole thing of channeling specific spirits and so on, and using divination, subliminally. And it's at a point of where you got people that have like whole tail beasts, like whole spirits that are sealed within them. And the majority of all the deities, in Naruto, and even some of the attacks in Naruto, are inspired by Japanese mythology in the Shinto religion. So like prime example, the Tsukuyomi. So pretty much this is an attack that Itachi uses. So pretty much the whole description of it is, after making eye contact with a target, Itachi traps them in an illusion of his design. So in other words, reality can be whatever he wants, like Thanos says. So he attacks a specific person and not only traps them, but he messes with their perception of time, very similar to how in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Dio and Jotaro have the ability to slow down and stop time. But the difference is that when Dio and Jotaro do it, they're limited for only like a few seconds, so whatever the case may be. With Itachi, he can pretty much do that in a matter of seconds, but that victim will feel like it has gone on for days, but that's been happening in like a matter of seconds. So, for example, he could be torturing this person, he could be stabbing this person, or whatever the case may be, or make them relive, you know, incidences from their past repeatedly within seconds. And that whole attack is inspired by the quote unquote moon kami, within Japanese mythology and the Shinto religion. And it's crazy because Tsukuyomi is also associated with time. And that deity can be traced to Yarick, who is considered the Canaanite moon deity or false god. So so the hand seals in Naruto are not only based in both the Chinese zodiac and excuse me. Yeah, it's not necessarily just associated with the Chinese zodiac, but it's also associated with Mudra and Kujin, which are pretty much symbolic / ritual gestures in Hinduism, Taoism, Buddhism, and so on, as samurais, monks, etc. would use these techniques to meditate or become spiritually enlightened. And even the 5 natures of chakra that Naruto uses are derived from the Hindu / Buddhist concept of the 5, pretty much like the 5 elements. That's, within Hinduism and Buddhism. So, one more thing that I randomly thought about. So, Kurama, which is a kitsune, we obviously know at this point was sealed in Naruto when he was a baby. This is the thing. People, consistently explain to me, and I've heard it time after time after time of why it happened. I'm sorry, like, I'm not finna seal no demon or no spirit in my child. I'd rather a croak. Sorry, but still. But that's not the point. So, Kurama was sealed in Naruto, and to me, it's similar to how, so prime example, I used to be a really big horror movie fan. I used to watch horror movies a lot. So I think in the Grudge series, like in the Grudge 3, I think, so it was similar to how Kyoko was fed spirits. Kyoko's mom was mean and was just giving her a bowl of blood and pretty much just making her drink it and so on, and just feeding all this negativity and evil spirits and stuff into her child, to where Kyoko at one point was possessed. And it just reminds me of how similar it is to that via the 8 trigrams sealing style. And that whole seal or sealing essentially, that was used to seal a large enemy or an evil spirit into a target, such as an object or a human's body. So that's possession. Long story short. Like, you're using the human as a vessel to store that evil spirit, in like possession. And its name is very similar to the 8 trigrams or the Bagua, which are symbols of the yin and yang energy within Taoist cosmology. So, now we're going to talk about Yu Yu Hakusho. So remember not our boy, remember the boy Kurama? The Kitsune? He's back. This character literally in the spirit realm or in, the demon realm was known as Kurama the Yoko or the demon fox. And he is a kitsune. And that was the inspiration point for the kitsune in Naruto. So this information led me to Yu Yu Hakusho. So it's to a point of where you got people in the show. You got humans and you got demons. That's it. That is literally it. You got humans and then you got spirits and demons. Like verbatim. So you have you have beings in the Yu Yu Hakusho universe where they're called Mazoku. And so the whole definition of this verbatim is there are supernatural beings and a special type of elite, even among powerful demons inhabiting the demon world. So they're literal demons. But like, not trying to spruce it up. I'm just calling it like I see it and based on the actual definition. So Yusuke is considered a psychic. And that's pretty much a human that possesses supernatural powers and has the ability to use spirit energy, which is the energy or spirit or the actual spirit within a human being, or demon energy, which is just demons, as well as heightened spiritual awareness to see ghosts, demons, telepathy, shaping energy, and manipulating objects and or matter. And when I started to read this definition, I was like shaking my head because demon energy is just based on that, it would literally mean like demonic possession. It would legitimately just mean demonic possession. And however, um based on based on like a lot of things that I've like seen in like media and based on like conversations I had with like other people, um mm, based on like a good chunk of like this whole definition, something I noticed is that some of really half of this whole definition, not even half, just cut it into like fourths. This definition, like 25% of the definition is essentially just defining what a seer is. And so in Christianity, a seer is pretty much a person that's considered like a prophet, but they have the ability to see spirits and so forth, to pretty much see what be popping off in the spirit world. It's like they have the ability, yeah, like verbatim, they have the ability that God gives them this information, essentially. So when it comes to the whole, the colors of the spirit energy and things of that nature, it's based on the aura colors, or pretty much the system that's used, in Buddhism. So a good chunk of this show, let's really talk about it. So this show really toys around with the concepts of death, demonology, divination, and demonic possession, and even portals between the spirit realm and the real world. Because it's at a point of where I think at one point in the series, Yusuke is in a demon world for like 3 years or whatever, and he comes back and he's like, "Hey y'all, I'm back." Like, what? And at one point, he was transformed into he was one of the demon people at one point. So hey, and it was something I also find like interesting was the creator Tagashi. He began creating Yu Yu Hakusho around like November of 1990. And even himself, he based the series, on his interest in the occult, horror, cinematography, and an influence of Buddhist mythology. So take what you will from that. Now we're going to talk about Bleach. So before Kuba made Bleach, so while he was dealing with like a lot of stuff, he created a manga called Zombie Powder, which is a story about a group of criminals that was searching for an artifact called the Rings of the Dead, which grants them the power to resurrect the dead and grant immortality. So this series, combined the Wild West, Clint Eastwood type beat, but it also combines science, the supernatural, and the occult. So, but when it comes to the inspiration of Bleach, it ranged from like a lot of different stuff. But his interest in joining the supernatural and monster aspect originally started from the manga Jijiji no Kitaro, which involves yokai or demons. And then it combines it, the interest in that with weaponry from shows like Saint Seiya, which revolves around fighters that represents the zodiac. and they're fighting on behalf of the reincarnation of the goddess Athena. And it's crazy because Athena, the goddess Athena, so this is the thing. So Ichigo has the ability to see spirits and is lured into the world of the Shingami, and Shingami are death gods. And it's crazy because just like with seers had the ability to see spirits. And sadly, you do have some people that God gives a specific gift to, but sadly, the devil will deceive people and, cause them to use that gift to do some crazy stuff in the same way. So he's lured into the world of the Shingami. So in Bleach, so the Soul Society pretty much is like this place where hold on. So basically the Soul Society is pretty much like the afterlife where death gods or Shingami and souls live in the show. That's all it is. And the Soul Society is maintained by a deity named the Soul King. He's the head honcho over everything. But here's the thing. The spirit realm is 100% real. However, nobody is carnated. Not only is nobody carnated, but it's a lot that be going on. It's a lot that be going on that we don't see. But you don't have, people's souls just lurking around, just like la la la. Like, no, it's not how it works. At the end, hollows. So the enemies in the show hollows pretty much are extremely similar to how demons attach themselves to humans when constantly consumed by negativity and sin. Same way. Truth in plain sight, like verbatim. So then you have something in the show called Kido, which is considered demon arts, and that is a form of Shingami combat based on advanced spells, and it requires an incantation in order for the spells to be effective. So a good portion of the incantations in these shows either deals with false gods or demonic inscriptions. So for example, so this is pretty much an example of one of the incantations, but this incantation is called Hado number 31, but it is called the Red Flame Cannon. And it's a Kido spell, and this is the incantation that you have to say in order, that the Shingami has to say in order for it to be effective. That's one thing. And then another thing that I find crazy is so we gonna end up talking about the Soul King again. So you have two characters in particular, one named Soul King and one named Yawish. And I find it interesting because when I first saw it, I was just like, I don't know, something's a little crazy about the name. It sounds very familiar. So then I was like, it looks very familiar to the name, that, we would call God in Christianity, which is Yahweh. And then I look it up and I'm like, I knew I wasn't tweaking. I'm like, I knew it. It was a play on that. And it's crazy because in a way, it's not only mimicking it, but it's also mocking it, because in the show, Yawish is the son, but at the same time, the son of Soul King attacks Soul King to take over the entire Soul Society and start his own kingdom. And he did that for like 1,000 years. He was working on doing that for like 1,000 years. And it's crazy because he inherited his signature power, which is called the Almighty, from his dad, Soul King. And it's crazy because Yawitch, this character, um, so he pretty much wants to reshape the world in his image. But it's crazy though, because he absorbed his father's remains in order to take his father's power to get what he wants done. But in the aftermath, he's taken out by Ichigo and his crew before he's able to achieve the goal of pretty much taking over everything. So, ooh-wee. It's gonna be some serious, boy. Woo doggy. So, we're gonna talk about Dragon Ball. I know some people are gonna be like, why would you do that? And you know the creator is dead. Like, don't get me wrong. It's sad to see people die. It is like 100%, but I'm still gonna talk about the show. So let's get it popping. So Dragon Ball is actually based on the Chinese novel, I think it's Journey to the West, I believe, where, ooh, my bad, that was kind of loud. So Goku's character is actually based on the Monkey King, and his name is Sun Wukong, I believe. And yeah, so his character is based on the Monkey King, who and his character rebelled against heaven, and we all know who did that. So the Monkey King, according to some, the Monkey King was possibly inspired by Hanuman, who is a Hindu monkey god. And this name here, and that is a monkey-like demon that could be traced back to Babi/Thoth, which is an Egyptian false god, and Yarick, once again, who is a Canaanite moon god. So, enough of that. So, Shinron, who is like literally their name can be translated to dragon god. Something I find interesting is it's dark when he shows up, but returns back to normal when he leaves. Like everything is happy and handy dandy and yeah. But when he gets there, it's dark. It's dark. So ultimate Shenron grants witches such as like killing people and whatever the case may be. So Shenron is possibly linked or equivalent to Shenlong in Chinese, or Ryujin, which is who is the protector of the sea and tide jewels in Japanese. So Shenlong can be traced back to either Baal, pretty much Baal, who is a Canaanite false god that's associated with the weather or the sea, or Dagon/Marduk, who is a Syrian/Philistinian false god of fertility that's linked to storms, agriculture, and the sea. So, Dragon Balls are essentially crystal balls or balls that are used pretty much to like summon Shenron, who is essentially, it's a dragon, but it's still a serpent, to grant whatever wish they want. Now, when it comes to witchcraft, you have people that use crystals, whether it's a ball, whether it's a rock format, whatever the case may be. Crystal balls are used in prophecies and divination to where people feel like, oh, if I use these rocks, I can get healing, I can get blessed with something, whatever the case may be. But that is used in some witchcraft practices. So we got Piccolo/Kami and DBZ. They're actually split up to where one is good, one is bad. And that is possibly linked to the Kami system in Shinto Buddhism. So we got the obvious ones, such as, Mr. Satan, Hercules Satan, Videl, which is pretty much like devil mixed up, and Pan. And then the 666 car that, have flames on it. That's obvious. I feel like some people, when they saw the title, they expected me to use just that for DBZ. like verbatim. So you have, just like with Naruto and in other shows that involve like sealing and so on, they also have, sealing spells. They don't really use a lot of magic like that, but they do have magic in some instances. So, you have the sealing spell and evil containment wave. So these are sealing techniques that are used to suck demons or enemies into containers. And they be putting paper talisman on it to seal it. But we know it takes more than that. It takes more than that. Like, you can't just seal something in a jar and then it kapow, that's it. Like, it don't work like that. But within, DBZ, within the Dragon Ball Z universe, pretty much like I said, like magic isn't really used. It's not really used like that. It's mainly used in, the show. It's used for like healing, conjuring, transmuting, sealing, etc. But pretty much divination. And you have some people that will say how the Dragon Balls themselves are literally created by like Namekians that use or practice magic. And even DBZ says magic is the science of the demon realm, which is due to several of its founders being witches and warlocks. They said it, not me. They said it, not me. So, you got incidences of, body switches and things of that nature going on in the show. And then, like, at first, I was starting to get to a point where I'm just like, okay, I want to use other examples compared to just the, basic ones, right? So, excuse me. So something I found interesting was like Namek has three sons, right? And I was just like, okay, this doesn't really mean anything, you know. Even Toriyama literally said that, he just want like, hey, he was just thinking of something and wanted Namek to be brighter. So I'm just sitting here, I'm just like, I don't really think that means anything. And there's something I thought was interesting was so there's a Chinese doctrine called the doctrine of the three sons or the three ages. And so the three sons or the doctrine of the three sons or three ages pretty much is a doctrine in Confucianism or some Chinese salvationist religions where according to this these are considered three stages of end times, right? And they divide end times into three stages and is in each or governed by a different Buddha or whatever the case may be to save humanity. So you have the green sun, red sun, and white sun. And a part of me is like, I'm not sure if the three suns thing is correlated with that, but I do find it interesting that, since due to the fact that the show already has like a good portion of, connections to both, Japanese Shinto Buddhism and, other Chinese belief systems, maybe there could be a link there. So, and then, in some instances, the devil is actually like in like a whole DBZ movie in like 1987. I think it was the Sleeping Princess movie. And then at one point, makes DBZ and is super successful and things of that nature. He creates one interesting show. One interesting manga called Go Go Ackman. And he wrote this, pretty much it was published in V Jump for just 11 chapters from July of 1993 to October of 1994. And I'm gonna read y'all the plot. So it says, Go Go Ackman is a humorous series about a demon child named Ackman who harvests souls for the great demon king. This is literally a 200-year-old demon as a child, like verbatim. I can't make, I can't look, I can't make this up. And his nemesis in the show is an angel named Tenchi-kun. And it's crazy because they write it off as a joke. So like Ackman is Ackman is out here killing anybody and everybody like no tomorrow. And then you have Tenchi-kun over here that's like, oh, I thought Ackman was gone. And Ackman wasn't. So it's to a point where they kind of just make it this joke of where, oh my gosh, Tenchi-kun tries to take down Ackman, but he fails miserably. Hee hee. And it's just like, it's crazy. Like it's ridiculous. Like the whole thing is it's crazy because his sidekick is a bat named Gordon. And his main purpose is to gather the souls of people Ackman kills and puts them in a jar. You can't make this up. So then you got One Piece. One Piece, last but not least, One Piece, One Piece. So, so I had to really dig like super deep into One Piece. Cause like there's a lot of things like with One Piece and like it's still ongoing as well. So something I found like interesting was, cause I know some people are gonna be like, are you gonna say demon fruit? Doo doo doo. Like, even though that's weird, it's more than just that. Cause I already knew people were gonna, assume that off rip, oh, she's saying One Piece is bad because the fruit is called demon fruit. That it like it's still weird, but that's not just the thing that I'm gonna talk about. So pretty much like the devil fruit in the series pretty much is it's like you eat a fruit, you gain powers, but regardless of the fruit that you eat, if you get in a body of water, you're cooked. Like you're not it you can't swim. You're done. You're done. You're done for. So one of the fruits I believe is called Nico Nico no Nomi, I believe. Yeah. So Nico Nico Nomi model leopard pretty much is a zoan type devil fruit that allows its user to transform into a leopard hybrid and a full leopard at will, making the user a leopard human. And something I found interesting is, sometimes I hate diving into this stuff because it makes my head hurt. But it's very similar to, so according to weird demonology stuff or whatever, it's similar to the demon Osei, who is associated with leopards and is heavily referenced in games like Shin Megami Tensei. So, One Piece makes references to Seraphim, to Lilith, and so on, right? All right, so this is Editor Kim speaking. I had to, come in and, I had to add some stuff because, mind you, this is why I said out of all 1,000 plus episodes and even in a manga, it's stuff I'm still finding out even when researching and editing and making sure it's accurate, bro. Because, prime example, so there is a snake deity in the show. This is the name and this is what it looks like, right? And I'm just sitting here thinking, why does it look so familiar? Why does it look so familiar? Because not only is it a reference to this deity with this name, but that deity was also in the God of War video game, and Kratos was fighting it. We're gonna jump to it. We're gonna jump to another creature that lives, in this area in One Piece called Land of the Gods. Right? So something I found interesting was I looked at his lion form with the crown on it. This is what it looks like, and I'm just like, okay, this looks a little similar as well. Where have I seen this before? And then I randomly hear something just nudges me, and it's like, look up Baal, and I'm just like, for what? My head already hurts, and then it just gets quiet, so I do it anyways. I don't. It's just you can't make it up because Baal. So this one signifies Baal Hadad because Baal Hadad is one of the false gods that the Canaanites were worshiping in ancient times. Not only that, but its Sumerian name is Iskar. And it's represented with thunderbolts, bulls, and lions. And in every shape, form, or fashion of this false god, it's always wearing a crown. It's never not wearing a crown. And then one of the older illustrations of this false god has a fat crown on the top. That's another thing. And then you have, some of the people in the five elders in the of the world nobles, in the world government in the One Piece series, where this character's name is Shepherd Jew Peter, which is a combination of Peter, Saint Peter, that's in the disciples, and the false god Jupiter. And I'm just like, huh, okay. So what's even crazier is there's a character whose name is J. Garcia Saturn, Saint J. Garcia Saturn. So he's one of the five elders who pretty much is like the head honcho of the world government, right? So the crazy thing about it is not only he's just a problematic person in general, but not only, is his name pretty much, correlated with Saturn, like that's obvious, it's in the name, but in Hindu astrology, that's associated with Shani, who is the false god of karma, justice, retribution, misery, old age, etc. The Zoan devil fruit that he partakes in is associated with yokai. It's based on, I don't want to say the name wrong, but it's right here, but it's pretty much, a yokai or a demon from Japanese folklore that's described with having the head of an ox and the body of a six-legged spider. And it doesn't make it any better that in some instances, whether it's in some, Christianity, talks and outside of it, for whatever reason, Satan and Saturn, those names, for whatever reason, kind of like circle around each other. But either way, I'm finding out even more stuff that's just blowing my mind right now, such as the fact that, like, and this is canon, like there's a whole thing where it was on, I think, Nakamura Island, I could be wrong, where these people was trying to summon Satan on this island only to summon Brooks. Either way, it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. It's something I found really interesting as well is something I just find real funny about the whole like devil fruit thing that I pretty much like randomly, I don't know, this is just my take on it, but I really do feel like the devil fruit is a perverse version of, a more like a somewhat more perverse version of the fruit of the tree, the knowledge of good and evil, which is also equally perverse in its nature. And then also something I do find crazy as a Christian is that it reminds me of like the references of the fruits of the flesh and how all throughout the Bible it talks about, being fruitful and, not with just like childbirth and, reproduction and things of that nature, but it also talks about like bearing fruit in your life and, how you will know them by their fruit. like it says in Matthew chapter 7 verses 15 through 20. I just found that, just a little interesting. A little interesting. Along with the times that One Piece, references, not really just One Piece, but like other shows as well make like heavy references to Adam and Eve and the Garden, of Eden and the tree of, the knowledge of good and evil and so on, right? And then another thing that I found really interesting with One Piece is there is a false god, or like pretty much like a demon in Japanese mythology called Tengu. And some people would be like, "Oh, well, a Tengu is this or a Tengu is that," but a Tengu is essentially a demon, and it's riddled in like a lot of shows, including One Piece at one point, especially with like Tengu masks as well. And then you got obvious examples of like biblical references and um biblical, pretty much like biblical concepts and so forth being mocked in anime, such as like the apostles and the Godhead in Berserk. What else? Okay, so another example. So it's a show called Maria the Virgin Witch. So according to this show, um so apparently according to the show, Michael, the archangel Michael, puts a curse literally on Maria and pretty much gives her an ultimatum that she either must remain a virgin or risk having her magic taken away from her. And I'm just like, that's crazy, because not only is that blasphemous, but that's not how that works. Now, this is my other thing. So, I'm going to tell you like this. When it comes down to it, I really do feel like it's essential for no matter what it is you watch, just pray about what you watch or what you consume. Pray to have discernment about whether or not it's good for you to watch. Because this ain't me trying to ooga booga scare you. This is me saying, hey, I know you like these shows. I know you think they cool and so on, but are you really seeing what you're seeing? Are you really understanding fully what you're seeing from a spiritual standpoint? Because I feel like something that a lot of people don't really like to talk about when it comes to like fictional media is that real things influence fictional media all the time. The things that we don't think are real that are being put in these shows are very much real, and low key influence specific shows as well. So I'm not saying this from a place of fear or to be disrespectful or rude or whatever the case may be, but I'm saying this, to say use discernment about what you watch, because I feel like in a lot of ways, if you're not careful, you could be watching something that is problematic in nature and you don't even realize it. It's the same thing that, that I can also echo, about the same point that I was making when it came to the blatant amounts of pedophilia and incest that were either hidden or put in plain sight in some of these animated shows, right? So that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna leave you with, because at the end of the day, I know some people are going to be like, oh, this is just another Christian just yapping. She's being rude, disrespectful, nasty. She wants to control people. Nah, that's not my intent. Um, it's just like, as a Christian, it's like, as somebody that used to be really, 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 really big on anime, it's like once I started to see specific things, not just in animated shows, but in other forms of media, it's like once you pray for discernment and you see specific things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like I've talked to friends and other people, and they have echoed the same thing. So all I will say is to just pray for discernment and pay attention to what you're watching. Like it's to a point of where I can't remember the last time I really like fully watched like an anime like that, except for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and like a few other shows. But I've been praying about whether or not to continue to watch those. And I feel like, I don't know, because I really, really, really love JoJo. Like as somebody that, went to school for art, I absolutely love JoJo. But even I still have to pray about what shows to watch as a Christian, because who would I be to get on here and say, do this, do this, do this, do this, do that, or this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And I'm continuing to rock with something, and in season 3 it had tarot all in it, you know? So that's why, I'm saying it's so important to pray about what you watch or what you consume, because you don't know what is really being presented to you, but with cutesy aesthetics or with cool and epic fights. So that's all I'm gonna say. But aside from that, if you made it through all 1 minute and 40 something, not 1 minute, 1 hour and 40 something seconds of me yapping, I appreciate that. But aside from that, I will see you in the next episode, which is this Saturday. After this, I'm posting on Saturdays still, but I really just wanted to put this out there with urgency because, like I said, I've been sitting on this for like 5-6 months because I was nervous. I was nervous the whole time of just saying this because I knew people would be upset if somebody said it. And I knew people were going to be like, oh, here we go, another girl saying anime is demonic with no proof or nothing and do 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 do. So, yeah. But aside from that, I'll see you guys in the next episode. All right, bye guys. Also, I'm gonna put a disclaimer in the description or just in general that I am a Christian. So me saying this, of course, is going to be from a Christian standpoint, but I'm saying this, from literally from like complete and total genuity. So I'm not saying this for control. I'm not saying this to be big and bad and bossy, because this is something that I also am applying to my own life. So yeah, see y'all later. Well, talk to y'all later. All right, bye guys.